Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Generative AI for Teaching. I am Professor Achin Nigam from Department of Management with Pilani campus, Rajasthan. In this episode, we are going to discuss how to generate MCQ questions using Generative AI. So during our semesters, we take short evaluations and long time based evaluations as well. For short time based evaluations, multiple choice questions are the go-to go-to type of assessments. And we sometimes face challenges based on the content that we have taught, that how to generate MCQ questions. Sometimes the textbooks that we use do supply some MCQ questions, but they may or may not be sufficient for our purposes. Sometimes we do want to have some new kind of questions as well. So today we are going to see how we can use generative AI and by writing via prompts that how how MCQ questions are generated. So we are going to see different ways to prompt a LLM for generating MCQs. One of the very basic ways to just try to generate X number of MCQs on a topic X, keep answers at the end. We just give the topic name and we just say generate 5 MCQ questions, 10 MCQ questions, 15 MCQ questions based off our need. Then we could also say that be more specific. We say that generate 5 MCQ questions based on slide content. Here we will see how to attach a slide and keep answers at the end. So the third way is we can say that generate theory-based 5 MCQ questions based on the content of the slide and keep answers at the end. The reason to say that keep answers at the end is because if you do not say that keep the answers in the first go, then there will be no answers. If we say keep answers, it can happen that answer is followed by after every question. But if we specify that we want keep answers at the end, then all the questions will come first and then the answers will follow. We could also say generate application-based 5 MCQs based on the content of the slide and keep answers at the end. In this, theory will not be asked, but in some application of that theory will be asked. Then we can be very specific. In this prompt, you see generate 5 MCQ questions. First, because MCQ can also differ in their difficulty levels. They can be easy, they can be intermediate or medium level difficulty, they can be very hard difficulty level. So we can say to the LLM, first show me sample MCQs of 3 different difficulty levels. Then ask me which level should be chosen to develop more questions. Here we will get more choices to select from. And then we can again say keep answers at the end. And finally, we are also going to see generating MCQs in a given context, in which if we know something about the students, their background, we could say that this is the background of my students. So develop the questions keeping the background of my students in mind or the context. So this context links back to the context pattern that we have discussed in my other playlist of prompt engineering. So if you have not seen that video, I would highly recommend just go and see that video. I will provide the link in the description. And now I will go to your LLM and demonstrate each of these. So the topic that I have chosen is of consumer behavior, as I am a marketing faculty at BIT, so that is in my domain. So, but this example can be easily replicated to any other domain as well. So what I will do is I will just follow each step one by one. So in the first step is generate 5 MCQ on topic X. I will manually copy this, go to my LLM. I copy this, and just as I told that my topic is consumer behavior. I will just write 5 MCQs on topic consumer behavior, keep answers at the end, and press enter. So once this is processed, you will see that 5 MCQs on consumer behavior is generated. That is all good and fine. I can see that questions are there. There are 4 options. I generally, because it has seen the pattern in the way it has learned that there are generally 4 options, and uh, the answers as requested are at the end B, C, B, A, and B for the respective questions. This is one way. Now we move to the another way that was shown in the slide is generate 5 FC questions based on the content of this slide. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I will just paste it, but now I'm going to show that my slide, this is a uh, author supplied slide with the textbook that I use is Marketing Management by Keller and Cherchnev. So what I will do is I will simply attach these slides. These kind of slides are generally supplied by the authors for our teaching assistants, but we can also use to attach them to generative AI. So I've kept it handy. I will simply drag and drop over here. So now you can see that the slide is getting attached. Now the slide is attached. Now it will process this prompt, generate 5 MCQs based on the slide content. I do not need to specify the topic because it will read the slide and then process the option, keep answers at the end, and then I will present. Now you see, it has seen that here are 5 MCQs based on the slide content for provided presentation on consumer behavior. This time it didn't tell it's consumer behavior. If you have was paying attention, I started a new chat also, so it didn't remember that I was doing exercise on consumer behavior. Again, these 5 questions are generated, and again I have the answers given at the end. Now moving to the third way. No, I can continue with this only because theory-based MCQ questions based on the content of the slide. So this time I was specifically going to say that you have to follow the theory only. The previous questions may be theoretical based or maybe application based, but I didn't specify. Now I will say specify, generate theory based questions and keep answers at the end. The slide content I do not need to attach again and again because it has read the slide. This is the same chat, so we do not need to do that exercise again. The content is already there, the slides. And now it is saying that these are the MCQs based on theoretical aspect. So these are the 5 questions. Third question is master hierarchy of needs. Then there's some perceptual process, so and so forth. And again, we have answers at the end. So this was the third way to do. Again, going back to my slide, and I see that the fourth is application-based 5 MCQ questions. So these are the, I'm again copying this prompt, pasting it over here, and this prompt now reads as generate application-based 5 MCQs based on the content of the slide and keep the answers at the end. Now you will see that the questions that are generated are not theory based, but they are based on some case based, application based. Now the questions are reading as a company wants to market a new health drink targeting consumers concerned about their well being. So now it is based on application. A smartphone brand modifies its advertising by considering the future values of different regions. Again, an application. After purchasing an expensive laptop, a customer feels unsure if they meet the right choice. Again, an application. In contrast, if I again go back, you see there was no application in the previous ones. It was just a simple theory based, a post-purchase behavior stage in the consumer decision process or a perceptual process in consumer behavior. So you see how by changing or just modifying the prompt or being more precise, more communicating with the LLM of how what we want from our MCQs, the questions gets changed and we improve in our quality of MCQ questions. Now let us see the next type. Now this is a complex thing that we want 5 MCQ questions. First show sample MCQ of the 3 different levels and then ask me which level should we choose in this exercise. So I will just again do because I want to keep the content same and I do not want to repeat that exercise. So since it's the same chat continuing, so we will still continue using the slide content and the consumer behavior example only. I will just paste it and I will just make sure that there are some minor tweaks so that it looks neat and nice. And let us see what happens. Now you see it is what it has done is it has started giving me 3 sample MCQ first. That this is an easy type. That what does consumer behavior study? Then based on its output, it says that medium is which element directly affects consumer behavior by shaping their value and beliefs. And the difficult one is in the consumer behavior decision making process. How does perception influence buying behavior? So now it says just please let me know which difficulty level would you like me to use for generating more MCQs. At this point, I can say hard as an input, medium as an input, or easy as an input. Or I could do one more thing. I could say show me application based alternatives. So I'm doing that in real time now. So now it will give me application based questions also. Previous one was looking more theoretical. Now this has becomes more application based, but still three difficulty levels. That easy is a company launches a new energy drink aimed at athletes, which consumer behavior they are primarily targeting. Then followed by a medium, that's a two-liner, and uh, that hard application basis after buying a high-end smartphone, a consumer posts a video explaining both pros and cons. So now, based on for my understanding about how much my students have learned about their uh, uh, assessment needs and what I expect them to perform, I can choose any one of these, and I can say generate more of. So I'm saying generate mode of hard questions. Now here it is saying here five more hard questions. Application based MCQs based on the slide content. Now these are the questions. Question 1, question 2, question 3, 4, and 5. And now the answers are also coming. Okay. So I hope that it is evident that why improve learning about better prompting is necessary. That's why LLMs do not generally do not make much of a mistake. It is us who are not able to give them the correct prompt for what we want. So now I move to the very last thing, that generating MCQs in a given context. For this, I do not need to copy anything from here. I will simply write the students in the students in my class are doctors of 3 or more years of experience. Adapt the MCQ questions in their context. And I will press enter. And now you will see, because I have very clearly specified that the students in my class are doctors of 3 or more years of experience. Now the questions, because of the last interaction I had was about generating hard level application based questions. So it is continuing with that chat, but now the questions are adapted in the pharmaceutical company customizes marketing messages. Second question is a medical device manufacturer promotes a new surgical tool. Third is experienced doctors review multiple clinical trials. Fourth is the hospital administration, and even the fifth one is in healthcare context only, or in the context of my participants. Now, why we need to have a context-based prompts or context-based MCQs. This will allow students to relate with their background and learn the subject in a much better way. They will be able to relate with the MCQs. They will be very happy to answer these questions. And the authors of the books cannot supply every questions or MCQ in every context. That's a challenge they have. Okay, so they do not know that this topic is all about basic marketing. Now, marketing is taught at different levels in different programs and different types of students. So authors cannot supply, but we can choose generative AI to develop MCQs that are based in the context of our class, of our students. So I hope this video will help our educators who are across the world in learning how to use LLMs for generating context-based MCQs, or without the context also based on the requirements. I will meet you soon in another video in our generative AI for education series. If you have any concerns about this, how to generate MCQs, please leave them in your comments, and I will see you again in our next video very soon. Thank you for your time. See you soon.